far, get you too far. Eggs successfully eaten. Uh, I feel like all the ones I'm not clicking are probably the more interesting ones. But they're also the ones I'm not clicking. So take that as you will. Let me just make sure microphone's unmuted. BRB is no longer active. Beep. Add a few of these really big caps with the slimy gills. I shouldn't say slimy, moist. The lady in the video calls for portobello, but I prefer never to know a mushroom by name. So is this a breakfast stew? It will be, but not today. This stew is for tomorrow. It has to simmer all day. Some things are just better done slowly. We've added the anonymous mushrooms, so next I've got the recipe video on pause next door. I used to follow a recipe I learned from Ida herself. The best cook you're gonna meet on this river. Of course, it had a few secret ingredients. She has the good sense to preserve some mystery around her cooking. Better for business. Ida's so shrewd, she swore me not only to secrecy, but to ignorance. Ida promised to forget the recipe just as soon as I'd cooked it. Let me tell you, it's not so easy to forget something on purpose as you may think, my friend. Not so easy. Said money won't get you too far, get you too far. Don't you know? Hello, Shannon. Crushed tomatoes, salsa, or even a little ketchup. Here's the thing nobody has to know. Throw in some more of that spice blend we threw together earlier. Stir all that up and crack a beer, baby. You'll be here for a while. What did she just say to do? Will's trying to make this stew right now. What was the last step he did? He added a couple mushrooms. Then I think he forgot what he was doing for a while. Maybe I can help him figure it out. I got kind of sucked into this program. So money won't get you too far, get you too far. You're a rich bitch girl. Young Master William. And even that wasn't enough to convince her. So I trained rigorously in the art of forgetting, studying for months under a master amnesiac. Finally, I learned to forget so quickly and accurately that I was able to convince Ida to share with me the most obscure secrets of her kitchen. As a demonstration of my trustworthiness, I forgot the names of my own parents, right there in front of her. Every time I wanted to cook this legendary stew, I'd call Ida up on the telephone and ask her for a quick, temporary reminder. Here on the boat, we haven't got a phone line, so I have to seek out culinary wisdom on videotapes of cooking shows. So, back to the matter at hand. Did you already make the spice blend? Oh, it's you. I thought, never mind, hello. Well, I don't know that it qualifies as a spice blend, but I spilled the salt in some of Kate's herbal tea here. Hey there, could I ask you, wait, why are you cooking? We're stopping at Sam and Ida's in 20 minutes. It's for tomorrow. Oh, well, just don't forget about it this time. I'm not scrubbing up any more boiled over sludge. Sorry, listen, I have a favor to ask. There's a package for the telephone exchange, and I can't get the mammoth back there. Could you deliver it for us? That guy I mentioned from the TV station, Dasham Morse, works there now. Thought you might like to chat with him anyway. Thanks a lot. I've got the dinghy all ready to go. Maybe take your friend with you. One of you can man the outboard motor, and the other can aim the flashlight. I think they're punishing me for staying on the boat the entire time. Echo River Central Exchange. Oh, my bones. Oh, my bones. Thanks again for your help. This is about as far as the tugboat can go. You know, noise and lights disturb the bats. So, we'll pass through the bat sanctuary, which is really nice, by the way. Be sure to check out all the plaques and stuff for cool bat facts. Plenty of fun. Anyway, the Echo River Central Exchange, or excuse me, Consolidated Auxiliary Switch number 30. They changed the name when the power company took over. Anyway, it's just on the other side of the bat sanctuary. This package is going to Poppy. She's an operator. The operator. We'll meet you on the other side at Sam and Ida's for our scheduled early morning breakfast stop. Just follow the river. Can't miss it. Oh, I almost forgot. You may or may not be interested. There's this kind of weird memorial sculpture on your way in, just before the Bat Sanctuary. I always recommend people at least stop and take a look at it. It's really sort of, I don't know how to say it. You should check it out. Bye. Okay, bye. Yokovichka. Look at blue. Some money won't get you too far, don't you know? The capillaries in my eyes are bursting. If our love died, would that be the worst thing? For somebody I thought was my savior, you sure make me do a whole lot of labor. We claim these helmets in the names of the folks who wore them, and we place them here in their memory, but also as a spit in the greedy green eye of that power company who brought up our old mine and traded our brothers and sisters' safety for little more yield, but only yielded 28 good men and women dead when the walls collapsed and the tunnels filled with water. Their lungs were black, but now they're washed clean and full of water too, and swept through hidden tunnels into some awful cave we will never find. And so we guess the water buried them for us, so let this here be the marker for their grave. Did I mention I don't know how to read? And if any son of a bitch from the power company wants to take back these helmets as company property, just you try it and see what will happen. Hey, Elkhorn. That's the mine we met in, where your folks worked. Looks like it's been here a while. I sure as hell wouldn't mess with it. You think whoever wrote it is still that angry? I don't think you ever forget anger that bad. No, probably not. This probably stirs up. How do you... It's fine. People should remember this happened. Well, here we are remembering, and I didn't even know it at the first time round. But here I am remembering it now. That's a fine memorial, I guess. Don't you know? Hello, skeletons. Snotlatex, if you want to say it backwards. Hello. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Sometimes I forget I don't really know you that well. Yeah, well, that makes two of us. You know, those guys from the distillery are just making the best of a bad situation, just like the rest of us. One of them said to me earlier that they could even help me take care of these medical bills for my leg. You know, get it all together on a plan, consolidated. What? When did you talk to them about that? Oh, they're around. They're pretty much everywhere you look on this river. You really haven't noticed? Anyway, I have a feeling it'll all work out. Even for this delivery. Yeah, we're almost there, right? Hell, at this point, I bet we could take off the parking brake and that truck would roll into 5 Dogwood by itself. Listen, that old truck I've been driving belonged to my boss Ira, Lisette's husband. To be honest, Ira didn't like me very much, but somehow Liz got it into her mind that he would have wanted me to have that truck someday. Maybe to make up for all the yelling he did, or maybe so his ghost could hold it over me. Just one more thing to feel like I owed him for. Anyway, they got their own trucks at the distillery, and now that antique shop is closing up, I've got no use for the old truck. I was thinking you could take it. That's generous, but I don't need a truck. You could drive it around while you figure out what's next. Hell, you could sleep in it if you need to. It's big enough. Well, Just think about it anyway. You'd be doing me a favor, you know? One less thing to deal with. Visitors to the Echo River American Black Bat Artificial Hibernaculum and Sanctuary are asked to take extra precautions in order to prevent the introduction of foreign fungal contaminants and the spread of white nose syndrome. Please do not visit the sanctuary during the same day in which you visited any cave known or suspected to host bats infected with white nose syndrome. I didn't go anywhere. Oh, Shannon may have, though. Please do not leave your vehicle. If you must leave your vehicle, please remove shoes, clothes, jewelry, headwear, and eyeglasses to ensure you do not bring any foreign spores ashore with you. I've had to do this before. Please do not touch any bats or structures. I went into caverns a couple times, and you had to do a bunch of precautions so that you didn't spread bat diseases to the bats. The American black bat is confused by light. If you're using a lantern or other artificial light source, be aware that it may attract and confuse bats. If you are approached by bats, do not panic, relax, stop your vehicle, and switch off your light. Never touch a bat. This water looks great. Bat fact. Ever talk with your mouth full? Bats do it all the time. Bats talk in extremely high frequency clicks, too high for humans to hear. Then they use their powerful ears to scan for the echoes of the ultrasonic clicks. By comparing very subtle differences in the time of these echoes to come back, differences of just millionths of a second, bats are able to picture their environment with enough accuracy to catch a flying insect. Once a bat has caught an insect in its mouth, it's still flying, so it still needs to avoid running into anything. So bats keep clicking away even while they munch on a tasty bug snack. It may be poor table manners, but it's crucial for surviving in the dark. I wonder how other bats know whether one of them is really talking or just chasing a bug. I think when they're actually communicating, it sounds more like singing. I'd like to hear that. The big bats. The American black bat's natural diet mostly consists of moths and other small insects that breed along the river. Here at the artificial hibernacularium and sanctuary, we use a combination of chemical snares and ultrasonic wards to repel all potentially contaminant-bearing insects and replace them with our own locally bred and spawned hypoallergenic antiseptic pseudomoths, which we call the little gray nothing moth. You may be thinking that the other moths and insects that American black bat would have been eating are very much relieved that their natural predator has found another food source. Not so. We've installed netting and highly effective moth traps along the river where the American black bat normally hunts to balance their escape from the food chain. Awesome. But eating moths isn't the only systemic contribution these bats make. They also produce a potent fertilizer in the form of guano that helps plant life thrive along the Echo River, the shore of Lake Leedy. Plant life thrive along the Echo River, along the Echo River, the shore. That sentence, I think, is maybe missing a comma, but I don't know anything about grammar. In order to minimize the sanctuary's impact on subterranean agriculture, we collect the precious guano here at the hibernaculum and manually distribute throughout the caves. It's a full-time job. Sounds like a lot of work. It's all fake except for the bats. I guess so. Reminds me of the guy Donald and his crew down there with the computer. Right, it is reassuring to know someone's taking care of everything for these little bats. Yeah, who's gonna build the people hibernaculum? Who's gonna build the people hibernaculum? Maybe we'll build it ourselves. Maybe we already did. Like the folks in the mine. You said they used to buy stuff. Fans, canaries, all those little trinkets to make it bearable. There's still a lot of stuff down there. It feels cluttered, but human. I just mean, all people need is enough to pretend we're home, and we can make it anywhere. You get philosophical when you're drinking. Yeah, I guess I do. This is nothing. I used to have the drinking buddy who could get loaded and tell the weirdest damn riddles, like which is more musical, a truck passing by a factory or a truck passing by a music school? Why is that a riddle? Cool trees. Cool bumbershoot. I've also been hit in the face with a bat before, and not a baseball bat. Almost knocked me off a ladder. White nose syndrome is still largely a mystery. We suspect that the white fungal growth which appears on bats' faces and wings irritates and confuses them, causing them to awaken early from hibernation and venture outside, depleting stored energy they need to survive through the winter. But biologists are nowhere near curing the disease. It spreads quickly and it is highly fatal. In this way, white nose syndrome has drawn some comparisons to colony collapse disorder suffered by bees. White nose syndrome and colony collapse disorder are sudden, violent, and mysterious. Will honeybees and the American black bat be two more lost species, wiped out in a geological blink and forgotten to natural history? It's possible that a cure won't be identified in time. So the sanctity of this artificial hibernaculum is the best hope for preserving them. As you leave the Echo River American Black Bat Hibernaculum and Sanctuary, please make sure your vehicle and clothing are free of hitchhikers. Huh. Careful up there, can't drive your new truck if you slip and break your legs. I'll be careful. Good evening. Dashel Robert Parr. Look at this, it's beautiful. Could be bypassed with another capacitor at 100 nanofarads to reduce noise. Are you Dashel Morse? Him? I mean, me? Yes, I'm him. Sorry, I've been hacking on this thing all night. I thought you're starting to come in alternating currents. We don't install this type of phone for customers anymore, but there are quite a few of them still in circulation. Really doesn't source enough current to ring these old bells, so I'm trying to come up with a workaround. Maybe a little box the customer could attach right before the wall jack. You seem very comfortable with electronics. He called me a nerd. Is this your first time down here? Yeah, I can tell. Your eyes can't quite adjust to the light. It takes some practice. Believe it or not, I've been coming here since I was a kid, for one reason or the next. Back then, this place was a train station. It's true. They had bats then, too, but they were considered a nuisance. Well, the river shifted and this place slowly filled with water, carrying the trains away with the current. So that it could be a swimming train. It does that, the river, and I don't begrudge it. It's a good reminder that everything we have is borrowed, even trains. Eventually, someone at the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces heard this place was still empty, so they moved the phone company in here. I returned here as a young lineman, a skill I picked up in wartime, running telephone wires behind enemy lines. We used trees instead of poles. I miss that actually, they were easier to climb. It's just as well, I'm in no shape to be climbing anything these days. The closest I get is patching up the wiring in the crystal room for the web folks. Kate says you're the only one who can tell me where it is. Oh, maybe they should put prints and maps. It's not really supposed to be a secret, but it's not common knowledge either. That must be why they're always short-staffed. Listen, miss. If you're interested in web, you should go talk to them directly. They're always looking for volunteers. Take the ferry over to the silo. There's a mail stop there. They don't have a sign or anything. Just ask around. I guess I'll get back to this damn old ringer. Poppy's just a little further down. If you're dropping off that package, nice chatting with you. Abel and Eloise, the lovers, couriers. Bred for racing, Abel and Eloise spend most of their lives as carrier pigeons in the employ of the Echo River Avian Post. They retired here after Abel was disfigured in an accident with a light aircraft. But old habits were hard to die. Abel and Eloise would pick up scraps of paper from the ground, the trash, even pull them out of pockets and deliver it to some other people nearby, to delight or embarrassment. Word spread, and travelers passing through this tunnel began to come prepared with love letters, poems, and other written desires to pass along indirectly through these pigeons. After a hard day's work, Abel and Eloise would always be found nestled closely together in a disused newspaper stand set aside for their habitation, and that's where we left them. Poppy. Just set it right over there by the lamp, sweetie. Thanks. Actually, just a minute. Who does that partial claim to be from? There's no label. Well, we're lucky it's chocolate from a secret admirer, not a snake from an assassin. So, who are you? Do you work for the post office or the tugboat? I only ask because I haven't seen you before. Was that you I heard chatting down the hall? I just met Dashiell. I'm just doing Kate a favor. I love Kate. She helped deliver both my nieces. One in a hospital and one at the base of a mossy moonlit oak. It was beautiful. I think Loretta's granddaughter used her to... Oh, Loretta used to work here. Actually, I think quite a few of her former operators have relied at some time on Kate's services. Well, now I guess they'll have more time with their little ones. As you can see, all their chairs are empty. It wasn't always like this. When I came to work at the Echo River Central Exchange, there were 12 of us. Loretta, Edna, Meg, Kara, Marie, Lois, Liz, Hester, Angie, Wilma, Connie. I was number 12. Connie and I were hired on the same day, but she showed up early. Marie finished college and Hester was fired for snapping at a rude caller, but he had it coming, and I hear she did just fine on her own, so they hired Beryl, Jana, and Sachiko, which brought us up to 13, and that was as many operators as we ever had here at one time. The power company came along, buying up all the lines, and one day they took the exchange as a throw-in like it was nothing, and they started phasing us out. I thought it said pissing us out. Edna, Meg, Kara, and Lois left one Friday evening and were asked not to come back on Monday morning. Beryl saw the writing on the wall and quickly found employment at a private PBX. They had Jana and Liz stop at routine routing calls and write up some kind of best practices document instead. It was their final task as exchange employees. Some of the girls were reassigned to other divisions. Connie, I think, was checking residential meters. Sachiko and Wilma were moved into energy sales. Cold calling businesses to see if they still need to upgrade their electricity plan. At least they were still on the phone. I didn't ask for your life story. Then it was just Loretta, Angie, and me. We were swamped. The hours were hell and hard on the throat. The voice with a smile became a croak. I was gargling warm salt water in the break room, sipping from a thermos full of hot honey broth stashed under my chair. Oh, and I brought a lot of extended technique to the switchboard in those days. Sounded pretty good to me. Yep. It's all about timing your breath. Some girls got lightheaded doing too many calls in a row with the upbeat dynamic inflection they made us use to keep everything intelligible. It was very physical. So after a few months, it was just me. A new automation strategy was announced, and this place was rechristened Consolidated Auxiliary Switch number 30. Why are you here if it's automated? It's not fully automated. There are still gaps in functionality that need a human touch. And you know, it really is all about the touch here. Sound is a vibration, a touch you feel in your ear, so my voice is my touch. When we're talking, we're touching, even on the phone. That's an electric touch, an intimate little shock that makes your tiny hairs tremble. None of those words were what they said. But that's not even what I mean when I say it's all about touch here. When the power company first tried automating this old exchange with fancy new transistor arrays, the switchboard caught fire. It was just too much too fast, so they tried using some clunky old mechanical relays, but then the calls were getting mismatched and out of sync. It was a nightmare. Their technicians determined that the phone system down here had been designed ad hoc over decades around the specific tempo of its human operators, so short of replacing the whole thing, not to mention all the wiring, they'd have to work out the exact timing of every little human gesture that goes into routing a phone call. And that officially is my role here. I run the switchboard for the whole exchange. Once the work of 12, I'd like to remind you, they have some kind of machine somewhere that tracks how long it takes me to do each little thing. The caller never hears my voice now. They dial my little indicator light switch on, and I make the connection. What's the machine like? Oh, it's funny, I never actually seen it. They told me just to carry on patching while it collects and collates in the background until it's ready to take over. There's a dark thought. What if there's no cheap machine that's going to replace me? What if it's cheaper just to keep me here, filling in for the rhythm of the operators? What if I'm the cheap machine? Why don't you quit? In this economy? No, you're probably right. Working in silence for peanut shells, waiting to be replaced by a robot, it doesn't sound very dignified, does it? The reality is that I've been working here for my whole adult life. I came here as a girl, and I'll leave as a middle-aged woman. I don't know if I'm ready to be here yet. Oh, the parcel, right over there by the lamp is fine. Thanks for dropping that off. Take care. Huh. Bye, Conway. Shit. I actually meant to click the skull. My hand slipped at the last second. Very cool. She returned on the dinghy alone. She had a strong and sudden urge to shut the motor off and let the current take her, but she couldn't work out where the impulse came from. So she did her best to resist it. She met a painter of shipwrecks. He never worked from photographs, so his paintings could be divided into two categories. There were the ones he painted from life, and the Echo River was a very good source for those because its currents were so unpredictable, and the tunnels so dark. He rendered these in oil paint by lamplight, working for hours cross-legged on the porch of his houseboat. Then there were the ones he painted from memory, mostly the memory of a single wreck he encountered as much younger man, picking up litter where the coastal highway cleaves to the rocky beaches of Northern California. These were done in watercolor. He preferred to work on them in the morning in a room he rented near the airport in Louisville. He had some postcard-sized sketches in charcoal, too, of the Iron Pariah, It wasn't a wreck exactly, but it felt right. He tried to scribble one down every time he encountered it, though it was so unpredictable and he was so focused on details he usually ended up with a handful of inscrutable marks. She met a flower salesman. They floated alongside in buoyant pots. Bobbing untethered, he corralled them with a long pole and a stream of small adjustments. He'd just started work for the day, so his stock was full. He pushed a few bouquets her way. First was a rustic bundle of mums. He suggested it would make an appropriate apology bouquet. Next, a simple mixture of snapdragons made to look wild. She thought it looked eager, and he agreed. Finally, a rustic mass of blue-petaled flowers, of many different types. He said it was for a particular kind of person. If it didn't remind her of anyone in specific, she'd better move on. He drifted away with the current, pushing his flowers away from the raft. The boat was loaded to capacity with the black plastic bags and a few larger pieces of furniture wrapped in a blue tarp. 3 paddled, the 2 adults and the older child. The 2 kids slept. They'd been traveling all night, first by car, and then for the last few hours by boat. Hungry and tired, they didn't plan to stop until they reached West Virginia, where a relative had offered to take them in. The Zero is interesting then. But the adults were happy to take a break from paddling in weary silence. They asked her about her river journey. She said she was on the way to Sam and Ida's. They'd brought some food. The kids had picked the garden clean earlier in the day, so she'd been snacking on a fresh bell peppers and tomatoes, some crackers rationed carefully for the trip. They wished her well and paddled on toward West Virginia. So, the Zero connects California, Kentucky, and West Virginia at least. She gave in, shut off the motor, and floated for a while. Then she knew that she'd been craving a moment of silence. So Conway drank himself to death. What a weird thing. Why not just put an apostrophe? Oh my. Blue. Good, you stayed with me. Find a small twig worked into the hair on Blue's neck. Blue doesn't seem to mind. Carry on, Blue. Look at this diving bell. Just in time, we've already finished eating. But we're about to place a to-go order for Clara. She's back on board getting ready for her show. Take a look at the menu. I'm sure there's something you'll like. Ida is a bit of a local celebrity for her cooking, I mean. Hey, Ezra was just asking about you. He's around the corner playing a game. Maybe you should let him go. Maybe you should let him know you two are back. Or, where's the old man, anyway? Bad luck. You'll get it next time. Hey, got a quarter? He's almost got this. It's true. Sure, I have 1 quarter. Thank you. So, where's... He's gone. Okay. I have to say, I didn't know him very well, but he seemed like the kind of guy who was always on his way to somewhere else. Yeah, I'm gonna go sit down. Cool. The food is good here. I think everyone else is finishing up, but you could probably get something to go. Alright, Claw Maestro, let's give it another shot. So, let's see what's on top of the pile here. There's a stuffed octopus, a plastic bag full of clamshells, a cowboy hat, and some big headphones. That octopus has a leg wrapped around the boombox underneath it. The shells are pretty clear, but I don't know if the claw can really grip that bag well. The cowboy hat is in the corner, so it's kind of tricky to tell if it's wedged in or not. Those headphones might be a good bet, but I can't see the cord. It could be wrapped around something. What are you going to go for? Octopus, obviously. Alright, I admire your confidence. When I put this quarter in, you'll have about 8 seconds to grab your prize. The octopus is square in the middle. Let me know if you need help lining it up. I've got a slightly different view of the field from here. Ready? Here we go. Claw hovers in the front left corner of the machine. Okay, front meaning toward the player. So it's in the front left, so I need to go up and right. Up. Right. Now we need to go down. No, we drop a claw. I can ask, does this look right? Yeah, it looks good to me. Grabs the octopus. The octopus is attached too securely to the plastic boom box beneath it. It slipped from the claw's grasp. Ah, no good. I had a feeling that octopus is a little too comfortable in there. Hey, listen, it sounds like the old man you were following around. I guess he had to leave. Is he okay? Yeah, he's okay. I mean, I'm sure he could do better, but I don't think we need to worry about him. Anyway, I don't know what kind of plans you have now, but if you need help figuring out your next move, you can always talk to me and Miss Junebug. I just wanted to make sure you know that. I'll go back to the museum. He's your brother, you said, right? Hey, maybe still have time to poke around this place a little. There's some pretty wild stuff in here. Now he's got robot legs. Hey, did you see this? They keep a table full of fake food over here. Never known why. Actually, I think it might be real food coated with shellac or something, preserved. Oh, and look, this tentacle-looking thing is half-eaten. This is someone's meal that they didn't finish. You first. Okay. Hold up, I'm just kidding. Sam and I to preserve this half-eaten meal and must have been pretty important to them, right? Maybe it belonged to someone they care about, like a beloved uncle had a mid-meal stroke. So they kept it in his memory. Ugh. Should have kept this flower seeds. Oh, no, I didn't mean that, kid. You don't need to hang on to every little memento. I'm sure you still remember them just fine. Are you worried about them? No. Okay, well, I don't know what the deal is with this table, but sometimes people do weird stuff because they miss someone. Weird, somehow I thought it was his truck and delivery and all. It was, that's what she's saying. He just left it behind. But you're gonna deliver it anyway? Somebody's waiting for those antiques. Have you got a name or just an address? Maybe it doesn't matter. Even having discharged all the whatever it is onto the lawn, I'm sure you just still fulfilled your friend's obligation. Johnny and I will help you unload when we get there. Lift with your legs, Cricket. Yes, ma'am. How is everything? How's the sweet cave snail? Devastating. You're a killer, Ida. Well, I can't take all the credit. Sam came across a whole cave snail colony down there about a year back, and we've been leaving rock candy for them to gorge on since. We just started harvesting earlier this month. Yes, it's all about the patience down here. Everything grows more slowly in the dark. There's a fish in Lake Lethe that lives to 200 years, and its flavor profile only develops at about 75. I got a pot of bones in there that's been stewing for at least a week. I don't even remember why I put them on. Come to think of it, I don't even remember what kind of bones they are. Oh, we need one for the road. Claire said she wanted, something primordial. She said, what does that mean? Something very deep in the lake. Could be. Here, you pick. I'm no good at this. I'd eat a lot of these. Sure. Ezra leans over the table and carefully examines the preserved food and drink. He prods the half-eaten tentacle. Tentacle is solid and fixed in place. We used to steam those. Juicy. But I prefer them smoked now. Whose is this? This is the diver's table, and this was the diver's last meal. This food is about 15 years old. It's true. Things were different then. Nobody came to eat here. We were fighting just to keep the lights on. Sam, my husband, was depressed. He couldn't catch anything. That was part of the problem. Most of what we served was shipped and frozen or dried, and I just threw it in the fryer. We've both come a long way since then. Well, two young men came in for dinner, seasoned divers. They said over 10,000 hours between them and Lake Lethe alone. They'd been out all day salvaging parts from a riverboat wreck and had worked up a fierce hunger, they said. They ordered the whole menu without even looking. It was a short menu in those days. I sat right here. Went back to the kitchen. Sam was at the next table doing a Sudoku and drinking malt liquor, his usual routine at the time. An hour later, I was cleaning up when Sam came bursting into the kitchen. Ida, he said. Those divers are still hungry. Bring them another course. And I said, they already ordered the whole menu. Make something new. Keep making up dishes, whatever. Just keep bringing out food. So I did until the small hours of the morning. I made up so many new dishes that night I could write a book. And it was good. Inspired. But I was working so hot and fast at the burning edge of inspiration I didn't think to write any of it down. And I was so wrecked with exhaustion the next day I knew I couldn't remember what all I'd done in the kitchen. Sam thought we could take a photograph of the leftovers, but we couldn't get the lighting right, so we just shellacked the whole table. Now, when I need inspiration for the menu, I come and look here and think about all those ingenious dishes I threw together for those divers. Of course, they didn't pay their full bill. I heard one of them complaining to the other, let's just pay half and let them charge the other half to whatever demon in the kitchen kept making up food faster than we could ask for it. But it all worked out. Things have really turned around since then. This place is actually pretty popular now. The success in our expanded menu inspired Sam, too. He started bringing back the most magnificent ingredients from his nightly dives. I'd better get to work. Stay right here, sweetie. I'll bring your treat back when your treat back and treat. Well, buddy, I guess you're the catch of the day. The one and only. So, what are you? You look like, well, some kind of fish, I guess. Kind of mopey little guy, huh? I can see it in your eyes. You smell like buttery. Well, that should be fine. Skin feels like sandpaper. Well, she'll figure something out. I think I'll call you Spaghetti Fish. Welcome to Sam and Ida's, the one and only Spaghetti Fish. I hope you enjoy your stay. I mean, not too much. Have you ever seen a creature like me before? You were pretty far down there. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm the first. Except there were two divers who went before me long ago. Maybe that was before your time. How old are you anyway, I wonder? They ate here once back in the bad old days. Two young guys. Could have been brothers, maybe. I was over in the corner with my coffee and crossword. Instead of malt liquor and crossword and Sudoku. I hadn't been able to catch a thing, so I'd have just fried up something from Frozen. Well, these guys were hungry enough to eat it and ask for more, and they did at least as much talking as eating. See, like I said, they were divers, and like I said, they might have been brothers. They had a kind of rivalry going between them or something. Ida was about to write up their check, but I slipped calmly and quietly into the kitchen for a minute and told her just to keep bringing out food. I figured they wouldn't notice, caught up in their boasting as they were, and I wanted to listen. They went back and forth for hours about all the deep and dangerous dives they'd been on, new tunnels they'd discovered, all the weird creatures they'd encountered at the weirdest depths of Lake Lethe. It was like a dance. No, like a boxing match. Each story went deeper than the last. And I listened to every word of it, memorized every description of every tunnel and diving route they'd discovered. That's my map now, you see. For 15 years I've been using those routes those two young divers discussed right there at that table. Yeah, I could write a guidebook to the depths of this lake, but I don't dare. Someone would steal my good diving spots, and then where would we be? See, people come here from all over just to try our daily catch because they know it's unique. Ain't you proud? Since I can't write any of it down, I just preserved the table where they had their meal, so I can look at it to jog my memory. Like they were eating pickled crab when they talked about that shipwreck full of salamanders. Pretty clever, huh? It's my own secret code. Well, I'll be straight with you, spaghetti fish. There's one feature of this arrangement that I find unsettling. In fact, I lose a decent amount of sleep over it. I told you those boys were competing, right? One-upping each other, getting wilder and more adventurous as they traded tales. Well, I navigate mostly in the dark down there. Just going by touch and kind of mental picture I can construct from their detailed boasts. And every time I explore a new diving spot from those recollections, I have to weigh it all against the risk that I'm headed right into dangerous falsehood. One of those men could have felt for a moment like he was losing some ground in their little duel. So he could have slipped a fake one in there, maybe told a fib about some dive he went on and found a colony of blind shrimp living in a discarded refrigerator, and when I get down there, my diving bell cracks open on a sharp rock where he said the fridge would be, and that's the end of Sam and Ida's. To be honest, that possibility puts fear of death in me every time I touch water. Hey Sam, good all tonight? We'll see what we can make of it. Pretty good, I think. I hit some trouble down by the narrow tunnel. Some kind of fast-growing freshwater barnacles just about sealed it up. I picked away for half an hour before I gave up and went the other way. But I got the catch of the day. That's the important part. That's what people travel for. There are a lot of fish. Yeah, there's a fish or two. Not too many. It's not like a surface lake where you got sunlight propping up the food chain. Life down here grows slowly, patiently, quietly. Well, you stay for a drink. I've got a dark rum that goes well with coffee. Bit early for me. Yeah, seems like it's always too early. Oh, she's got your food ready. Y'all enjoy your meal. Concept.
This world is not my home. I'm just passing through. My treasures and my hopes are placed beyond the blue. Many friends and kin have gone on before.
Shipwreck? Swirling mess of garbage, doesn't it? Well, that's what it is. I don't know why trash seems to collect right there. All the spots on the lake. It's always been that way. Everyone just navigates around it. Like it was an old island or something. Been a few years since I saw the inside of one. Those must have washed down from somewhere. I've never known there to be a school on the lake. Oh, there was Gemini School of Beauty. It was run by sisters, Cassie and Paula, indistinguishable except for their haircuts, but I wouldn't think they'd have used desks like that. We used to stop there most every night to let someone offer a cheap haircut. Student stylists, you know. They spared many a sailor the pain of a botched do-it-yourself do. But I guess they got in deep to the power company. Those blow dryers and curling irons burn a lot of coal. It's a shame they had to close down. The haircuts are gone, but the hair keeps growing. Yeah, the cluttered place makes a decent local museum. It's as good a history as I could ever tell. We arrived at a small houseboat neighborhood that sometimes hosted concerts for the pleasure of its residents, where Clara was scheduled that night to perform. A neighborhood. Theremin. I remember this. I told you. Yeah, you didn't have to say it. Only because it's always true. Just played at the flower shop. Cyrano opened. He was having trouble with his tape machine, so he just droned out on the lap steel. He got really into it. He went on for like forever. Everyone was falling asleep. Not everyone. I remember the air was warm, perfumed. You were playing with some petals you found on the ground, and I was looking at the ceiling. I remember the ceiling was glass during the week. That room was a greenhouse. I don't know where they put all the plants when they had bands in. Maybe outside if the weather was nice. It was nice that night, warm, smelled like spring. I remember the folding chairs so uncomfortable, but I guess it was their only option. They had to pack everything up during the week so there'd be room to display the flowers. The tape stuff sounds good. That kid's doing a good job. He's a natural-born tape player. I was talking to him back at Salmonida's. He seems a little lost. Another lost soul. Well, he's in good company. Maybe he could travel with us for a bit? Not sure that's a good idea. We were in the back, passing messages in code. We used a code of our own design, inscrutable to observers, transmitted by subsonic whistles. We reviewed our travel plans. We wanted to drive through the night, try to get a music festival in West Virginia in time to make some tips in the parking lot. I didn't think we'd earn the gas money back. I was willing to be persuaded. We abandoned the subject and the folding chairs and went for a little walk. If I sound hesitant or something, it's just, when we met, we were nothing. Just these little gray shadows, and as we grew, and filled in, but we did all that together. Ezra, sure, he's just a kid, but he's already a person. What would that do to our system? Ended up in a basement. I remember the air was cool and damp like a cave. I remember the lingering perfume of the greenhouse giving away to an earthy plant smell, like we were digging down into the roots. A grimy door in the corner caught my eye. I remember the door was stuck. There was a large gap underneath it. You forced the door open. It wasn't as stuck as we thought. Door burst open and we fell through. Hey, I got the masters for the new record back from Lazar. They're okay, but I... What? You listen to them without me? You were at the arcade. I didn't want to throw you off your pinball game. Oh, okay. Anyway, there are a few spots where the strings distorted a little, and the whole thing was way too much reverb. But overall, it sounds pretty good. The new drum machine fits right into the mix. Nice. The only question is how to do it live. I can't control the drum machine and sing and dance at the same time, and you've got your hands full of a guitar. We switched on the lights. The room was crowded with colorful wreaths for births, quinceañeras, weddings, and funerals. Celebratory wreaths. But there was something kind of sad about it. We got back to the greenhouse just as Clara was tuning up. She relaxed her shoulders, took a deep breath, raised her hands into the precise positions, and the room started shaking. Clara hit a note that made the glass rattle in a symphony of perfect 2 octaves lower. She looked like a sorceress, tearing down the building with an effortless weave and an incredible focus, coaxing the empty air into some kind of moaning, rattling demon. That's the thing about the theremin. It's the only instrument you never touch. You could see a wave of concern propagating through the greenhouse, people looking up at the trembling glass ceiling, looking at each other to see if anyone else was worried, trying to catch Clara's eye and discern if she was doing it on purpose or not. She were really trying to bury us all in glass. So how do you think we'll swing that, playing the drum machine live? We'll figure something out. Maybe glue it to the back of your guitar. Oh yeah, or swap the buttons for foot pedals. Or put the drums on tape beforehand like Cyrano does. Oh yeah, I guess we have a lot of options. Life is full of possibilities, Cricket. Yes, ma'am. It was a tense 5 minutes. We, the audience, alternated between fearing for our lives and lamenting hers. Oh good, dog noises. Between fearing for our lives and lamenting hers. That could have given kind of an emotional experience to play this devastating song. And slowly, gently, Clara's hands came to rest, and the theremin went quiet. The glass stopped rattling, and the room relaxed. Ugh. Met a photographer once, one in particular. She even took my portrait. I can't imagine why. She said it would immortalize me. That was a metaphor, of course. She meant I'd never be forgotten. As she was disembarking, Not far from here, actually. The film fell out of her bag and was borne away by the current. I was working on deck at the time. She saw me, sad, apologetic glance, but I wasn't bothered. It's no shame to be forgotten. Our passengers, one later, disembarked at the mail stop by the silo. They couldn't seem to get that old truck started up again, but we managed to roll it off the barge with only a minor scrape or two. At the last minute, Claire decided to travel with them for a while. Kate and I said goodbye to our friends, new and old, and the mucky mammoth rumbled on down the Echo. Silo of Late Reflections. Doggy. Oh, the cat's coming too. What is this place? Like Dogwood Drive? It's in a small town, or? I really don't know. I got the manifest the old man had in his truck here. Set's Antiques, mail order delivery, no return address, shipping address, 5 Dogwood Drive, packing list. And then it's just numbers. I guess the inventory numbers of the antiques he was supposed to be delivering. Anyway, I'm glad you're coming with us. Yes, I'm always eager to see more of the country, and I enjoy the company. I will have to find a bus or train to get on to Nashville by evening. Well, they have buses everywhere, right? Or, hey, I could drive you to Nashville. Seems I have a truck now. How are we going to get up these stairs? Not with that attitude. No, there isn't. Looks like we're just making the rest of this trip on foot. Nah, we've been loading and unloading gear since the stars were young. We're our own roadies, right? We've got expertise. Alright, Cricket, let's get this delivery packed and tied into bundles. We're hiking it upstairs. What's in there? Antiques, I guess. Antiques. Yeah, antiques are... it's like junk, but people will pay for it. Oh. Sorry, I guess you'll be taking the bus after all. It's okay. It'll be an adventure. Tired? Don't worry, lady. We're almost there. We're gonna pile it all on top of the cat's back. Oh, that's a lot of stairs. Still don't know why they make robot noises. End of active. Well, Act 5 is supposed to be the end, like the final, and it's supposed to be shorter than the rest. So, tuck in. I guess. Me, I'm talking to.